So this is the Rube Goldberg project for Elliot, Bonnie, Charlie, and Hannah. It starts out here when you hold a match to a tissue paper, and the ball will fall down, and with its momentum breaking through a sheet of wet tissue paper into a chute. It falls down, hits dominoes, then goes up a step of dominoes onto a textbook, hitting a car. The car will run down the ramp and hit these dominoes that increase into a bigger Lego block and then books. The books will then hit the golf ball, which will run down the chute, hitting a small domino and hitting bigger books, and then it'll hit a smaller book, which will hit a cylinder spice canister, which will hit a domino, which will hit bigger blocks and dominoes on either side, which will hit a little book that will hit the can of that we need to throw in the trash into the garbage. The can has a little bit of water in it for fluids. The concept demonstrated in the first step of our Rube Goldberg project is thermodynamics. The chemical energy of the match when struck against the side of the box transfers the thermal energy of the flame on the match that will burn the tissue paper, which changes it chemically, allowing the ball to go from having potential energy to having kinetic energy. The second step the concept demonstrated is kinematics, a branch of mechanics concerned with the motion of objects without reference to the forces that cause the motion. This is shown by dominoes moving, or in this case, falling. The third step is the concept is demonstrated with thermodynamics. And this is because the kinetic energy of the ball flowing down the chute creates thermal energy. In other words, it's the transfer of kinetic energy into thermal energy, the friction that you see on the track, or that you can feel if you run down the ball down the track enough times. The fourth concept demonstrated is when the ball hits the dominoes, making them fall. And one of the many concepts demonstrated here is Newton's first law, the law of inertia. And this is demonstrated by dominoes falling, because dominoes are not moving. When their dominoes are not moving, they have to be acted upon by an unbalanced force to get moving. And when they are moving, they have to be acted upon by an unbalanced force to stop moving. The unbalanced force to start the dominoes moving is the kinetic energy of the ball. The unbalanced force to stop the dominoes from moving is the normal force of the table perpendicular to the falling of the dominoes, as well as gravity and friction that also stop the dominoes from moving, because in a zero gravity, zero friction environment, the dominoes could slide on forever. But because we have gravity and friction, that stops the dominoes.
The concept demonstrated in Step 5 is Newton's second law, which states that the acceleration of an object is proportional to the net force that hit it. This is demonstrated in dominoes because when one domino hits another, its acceleration, or the rate at which it moves, is proportional to the last domino that hit it. The concept demonstrated in Step 6 is momentum. When the car is hit by a domino and rolls down the book, hitting another set of dominoes, momentum is the product of mass and velocity. The momentum of the car is enough to knock down the dominoes, and that momentum is transferred to the dominoes in a chain reaction, which is why they move. The concept demonstrated in Step 7 is Newton's third law, which states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. This is demonstrated by dominoes falling because for every action of one domino falling and hitting another, the reaction is that the domino also falls, and so on.
Step 8 also demonstrates Newton's first law, the law of inertia, because the dominoes and upright books stay at rest until acted upon by an unbalanced force, which causes, in this case, the kinetic energy of the object behind it. And the object stays in motion until being stopped by an unbalanced force of friction and normal force. Step 9 demonstrates the concept of energy. Energy can be simply stated as something that causes change. The change in this instant is the kinetic energy of the book and the golf ball that transfers the gravitational potential energy stored in the height of the ball into kinetic energy. Step 10 demonstrates Newton's third law, that every action of a domino falling and hitting another domino, reaction is the other domino falling.
Step 11 demonstrates the concept of rotational inertia. Rotational inertia is the concept that when things start spinning at a constant rate, they have the tendency to keep spinning, maintaining that constant rate, until acted upon by an unbalanced force. In the case of the spice canister is spinning after being knocked by the book and only stops spinning when acted upon by an unbalanced force of friction, caused by the rubbing of the spice canister against the table and dominoes. Step 12 demonstrates the concept of projectile motion. Projectile motion is the motion in a curved path where gravity is the only force acting on it. In this case, after being hit by a small book off the table into the trash can while in the air, the bottle is in projectile motion because it is traveling in a curved path with gravity being the only force acting on it.